Hello, hello. I hope you're well and had a fantastic weekend. I'm joined today by the one and only Holly Price. So, this is part of a series we want to reach out with up and coming and established estate agents throughout the UK and really have a chat with the best of the best throughout the United Kingdom and see what their secret sauce is, what they are doing, and how we can replicate their success throughout the United Kingdom. So, Holly, first of all, thank you for making time in your very busy schedules we were talking about earlier today to come on and join us today.
Oh, no problem. I feel like that is a loaded introduction. Thank you so much. That was good.
No problem at all. You
So
deserved it. So,
I'll
why
taking
not?
all those compliments on. Thank you very much. But
So,
yeah,
well,
I'm really good, thank you.
well, I'll keep those compliments coming. So, for those people that don't know you, so haven't seen your social media or your LinkedIn or anything like that at all, who are you and where do you come from? Is that what Cilla Black used to say?
Yes, yeah, it is our Scylla. We love Scylla. So I am Holly. I live in York. I work in York, and I am currently a self-employed estate agent under the EXP partnership.
Fantastic. And so, how long have you been an estate agent before you took the leap to EXP land, self-employedness?
Before that, I've been in property for 9 years before I actually took that leap.
Mhm.
We're now at about, yeah, so I've just had my second year anniversary with being self-employed. So that's taken me up to 11 years overall. Um, yeah, so started in very much traditional estate agency with a big high street brand. Um, and then I went into construction, like new build, and then I went into prop tech. Then I did um, like a cash for homes sort of situation, a little bit like Good Move, Springbok, that kind of thing. And then I had my child. And then 3 months when she was 3 months old, I thought, "Do you know what? Right now is the right time to quit my job
Abs-
and go self-employed."
Absolutely. So, with that in mind, you've teed me up quite nice for my next question here. So, what was the sort of what was the factor behind you going, actually, stuff these guys in the nicest possible way of putting that. I'm going out on my own and doing my own thing. What was the thing that what made you think to yourself, actually, was it the money? Was it your I don't say if it was your boss because they might listen in, but
Yeah,
what was the factor in the line that said, actually, no more being an employee, I'm now going to be an employer effectively?
do you know, so I actually started speaking to Adam Day, who runs the UK EXP side of things. I started talking to him mid 2020. So this had been on the cards for a little while. And actually it was my husband that said, "Do you know what, Hol, you're just gonna have to go and do it. You're really good at your job. Let's just give it a go." So I think it was one of those things that I just had my little one Grace, and it was very much kind of right. I didn't want to go back to what I did before. Um, the couple of years sort of leading up to sort of obviously we had the dreaded 2020 and all that came along with it. But those couple of years, I was made redundant a couple of years prior, and I was just sort of I was a little bit lost with what I wanted to do. When I left traditional estate agency, I thought, I don't want to be an estate agent. That's it. I've had enough of it. I love property, but hate estate agency. But then went into construction and I was like, oh, actually, it's quite nice. I missed that. Um, then made redundant, and it was from there I was kind of a bit lost. So I tried a few things, prop tech, and then did this like cash for homes sale. And then I thought, you know what, actually, what I really, really love doing is estate agency. I love helping people move. I like that um client interaction. I like meeting people. So let's just do that and get back to something that I really love because I've been a bit lost for a couple of years. So what
Yeah,
do I love? And selling houses. It was
yeah.
it really.
Like it a lot. Do what you love if in
Yeah.
doubt. So what were your reservations? Let's go glass half empty here. What were your reservations? So before you launched, obviously you mentioned on your 2 year post about reading your How to Run a Limited Company book. I don't know if you were being serious or not when you put that
I
on.
was.
Oh, there you go. It's a
I've
real
got it.
thing.
Yeah, I can go get it for you to show you. But yes,
So what were your worries and concerns before you launched?
before I launched, it was actually more of a I wasn't sure if anybody would want to use me.
Hmm.
It was a very much self-doubt. Like it was the self-doubt more than anything. I'd never run a company. I'd never been self-employed, so it was, I'd done some, we'd done some little bits on the side, in the sense of we used to have a pallets making like company, sort of company, where we used to make stuff out of pallets, and that's how we saved for our first house, and sold those. But I'd never actually run a company, so that was something that, that was probably something that kind of made me a little bit nervous. But it was mainly this thing, imposter syndrome, that a lot of people
Mhm.
talk about, and some people go, oh, imposter syndrome's not actually a thing, it's just the fact that you're doing something new. But but it was that kind of, are people gonna actually use me or not? Because I'd been
Yeah,
out of
sure.
traditional estate agency for around about 5 years, so I hadn't actually done, about 4 years. Yeah, I hadn't actually done any valuing for quite a while, not face to face. So
Yeah,
it was that.
great. Yeah. Yeah, well, I think that's perfectly natural, and lots of the clients I speak with are both in the estate agency world and outside the estate agency world. That's their biggest concern, and
Yeah,
they go, I've done it under so and so banner and so brand and whatever it may be, but actually, when it's little old me, will they still go for it, sort of thing? When usually the answer is
exactly.
yes, as you might imagine. So let's talk about money, if that's okay, and I'll keep this very British, so I won't go into too much detail about money and the ins and outs of pounds and pence. But so obviously, money is a concern. You go from a job that you get paid whatever you get paid per month into kind
Yeah.
of self-employedville, which is not so well paid to start off with, and estate agency in the UK is fairly slow, should we say, at paying out to start off with. You've got to expect not to have a huge income for the first, 6 months or so.
Yeah.
So, how many months sort of savings do you have in place, or what was your sort of buffer with regard to moving forward? So, if you went, okay, I didn't sell a house for the first year, for example, would things be okay? Or do you think yourself, actually, I need to sell the house in the first 3 months or I'm in trouble? Where did it sit?
I went into this knowing that, and assuming that I wasn't going to get paid for about 6 months.
Yep.
So at the time, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was really hard because we were basically a one income family with a newborn. So very difficult to kind of sort. And also I didn't really plan it very well, because our mortgage then came up for renewal, so we couldn't get another lender, so we had to just stick with the same lender, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So we went in with a couple of £1,000 to actually start the business. I think it was about £3,000 or £4,000 we actually started the business with. I planned on launching in the May 2022, and I announced on my personal Facebook that it was actually in the February 2022 that this is happening. And by the end of the February, I had my first listing, which was great. And I'm sure we'll come on to where listings have come from and that kind of thing. But that sold really quickly, which was great. But I knew that it wasn't going to be for a little while. So I think so I put that one on start of March, and I think I completed on it in end of June.
Okay.
So from registering my business on the 30th of December
Mhm.
2021 to actually getting any income was so about 6 months.
And what did you predict with regard to that first year? With regard to, you think yourself you might sell a house one a month, or do you think yourself, actually, I'll just wing it and see what happens? Or what were your kind of expectations on that side?
Very much, I'm a very much wing it kind of person.
Mhm.
We've had conversation before, and me and you.
It gives me slight judders when you say I'm a wing it sort of person, but it's okay.
Um, but I genuinely, that first year was very much for me, it was, okay, can this work? Would people actually want to use me? Is this a viable business? Like, what kind of, I knew I was good at my job as an estate agent. Like I said, I've never run a limited company before, but it was very much, that first year was very much, right, what is this something that could develop over time? And thankfully it did. But it was very much sort of, I didn't really plan on particularly a specific amount that year. It was very much, and also at the time, Grace only turned 1 in the September of 2022. So again, my priorities weren't it was a split between bringing up my little girl and also you know, doing this business. So I wasn't focused on, right, I'm going to do X amount of money, because I just didn't have that capacity to be able to do both at the same time. I don't think I
Sure.
do now, but I don't know how I don't know. You just get on with it, really.
You find a way.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I did. But then last year was a little bit different. It was sort of going into my second year, knowing that, right, okay, this works. Let's have a look at some targets, and go from there, really.
Good. Excellent. So you mentioned your first instruction. So let's talk
Mhm.
about your first couple of instructions. We get a bit of a
Yeah.
sort of across the board look at it. So where did they come from? Were they people you knew already, or were they new clients to yourself, or where were they coming from?
So first was a family referral, from a distant cousin, I think it was, from yeah, a family member. And then a second one was a Facebook friend that I had. You know, she needed to sell it. The first ones were very much like need to sell properties that had been inherited, that kind of thing. And then the couple after that came from, you know, I've only ever had one instruction from, specifically that I know of, from a canvassing
Mhm.
leaflet.
Yep.
But that was my highest fee to date when I got that one. So that was a 1.25%, which was great. But yeah, it was kind of a mix. And then now it's very much, because I'm quite prolific on social media, not prolific, maybe that's not all the word, but I'm quite active on social media.
Yep.
A lot of my stuff now comes from that, but
Mhm.
I had to build that, and definitely didn't get, you know, my website views and things like that at the beginning. It was very much a manually go out and find people where I could, canvassing letters, didn't do any door knocking. But yeah, a lot of referrals as well
Yeah.
to get
I think
going.
I think that's one area that lots of people overlook slightly when they first launch any business across the board, is actually who they know already. You
Yeah.
probably, if you went to your phone now and said how many contacts you got on your phone, you probably got, maybe 300, 500, 1,000, whatever the number is, sort of thing. Great. They all know you, or hopefully know you've got their phone number in their book. And, lots of agents don't actually connect with those contacts to say, I'm launching a business and this is how you can help me, because they're worried that actually, if it doesn't work out, I'll look stupid. So in fact, it's kind of this self-fulfilling prophecy. If I don't tell anybody my business is launching, therefore they won't know when I fail, but it fails because you don't tell anybody you're launching. So it's just like this never-ending cycle of death until you end up doing nothing, sort of thing.
Yeah, massively. Yeah, so I really kind of went hard on the Facebook, Instagram, kind of who I already had there. I told all my family about it, that kind of thing. And yeah, that worked for me really well, and still is working for me now. So
So if you were to go back 2 years, or just over 2 years now, and go back and start all over again, would you
yeah.
do exact same things you did now as you kind of did historically, or how would you change it?
Yeah, I think so, because there was my circumstance wasn't that I was completely out of I'd moved somewhere new, basically. By the time we'd actually started a business, I wasn't in estate agent, traditional estate agency. Nobody knew me where we were in the village here, and York again didn't really know me, because I hadn't been in a traditional estate agent for a long time. So I think that there's yeah, there's not much that wouldn't do, that I'd do differently, because
Yeah.
that's what I did, and I had the tools there, and I used what I could. And don't get me wrong, it's not the same for everybody, and not everybody, has that same experience and what have you. So I'm not saying that the way I did things was perfect, because it wasn't. But I tell you what I did do, actually. I really relied on like connections within the industry as
Yep.
well, to help me to build my confidence, because my mental health wasn't great at that time. I just had a child, so I was it was all kind of happening quite quickly. So I had a mentor that,
Mhm.
she really helped me. That was really good. And I think relying on, maybe starting that a little bit sooner, I probably would change. I'd rely on some industry people first, and kind of get their thoughts before just kind of launching into it and just winging it. I would
Yeah.
probably get a little bit more advice first.
Yeah, sure. So you worked it out as you went along, as opposed to a few people kind of cutting
Yeah.
a few corners for you in advance, sort of thing. So how do you think your marketing has evolved from, if you went back to day one and looked back at your, I don't know, first videos or your first leaflets going out, whatever it may be, how has your marketing evolved over the last 2 years to kind of where we are today?
I think that I am not afraid now to be a little bit different, and I am, and putting myself out there as in like my genuine self, because people buy from people, and we all know that, and that's a very, very common phrase within sales,
Mhm.
but it's genuinely true. It is. And I put my bloopers out now, my outtakes, that kind of thing, and that actually really does attract people, to the right kind of people that get me and that get what I'm trying to do. Looking back at my social media beforehand, oh, it just makes me cringe a little bit. But no doubt in a couple of years I'll do the same with what I've got now. And I think it's just evolving. I did a lot of learning as well.
Mhm.
So again, with social media, most of the people that I follow on social media are either marketing companies or social media experts, anything like that. And that's how I've learned to do things. So people ask me quite a lot, oh, your social media, do you it yourself, or do you get somebody to pay? You know, you pay for somebody for it. And I do it all myself, but I've learned. So again, it's evolved because I've made sure that I am trying to keep up with like trends and things like that, to make sure that actually I'm reaching the most people that I can.
Yeah.
And it's free as well. So why not?
The price is right. So if you oh, there you go, that's a good little like, yeah, it's a new slogan, surely. So if someone is sat with, they've launched their Instagram account, Facebook account, whatever
Yeah.
else it may be, and they're sat with what I would see as an average number of followers from an estate agency business, so a couple of hundred, who is probably friends and family, and a few maybe clients on there. How would you best recommend they grow that to a level where they can actually get instructions from it?
You know what? It's difficult. It is really hard at the moment because it's difficult to organically grow on Instagram and stuff. That is difficult. I'm at a stage now where I get a lot through Facebook. Instagram is a little bit of a different kettle of fish, because Instagram is, I have a lot of estate agents that follow me on Instagram.
Mm.
So, um, but still putting out nice content, still putting out things like not just houses, but advice, things that people are gonna want to follow you for. Kind of reeling them in with like things like advice or nice property tours. That's really good for Instagram. With Facebook, again, good with advice. I do lots of coming soon
Yep.
posts, but what I actually do with my viewings is, before anybody even leaves the house after a viewing, I ask them if they're on social media. So I say, are you on Facebook? Are you on Instagram? And either or, and I pretty much force them to follow me there and then before they leave. Because if I don't talk about it, how am I gonna
Yep.
get that? So, like I said, with Instagram and Facebook, it's hard to organically grow without sort of paying for bits and bobs and ads and things. So if you're just starting out, talk to people about it. If you've got if you're doing viewings and things and you've seen people, talk to them about it, show them um your Instagram, your Facebook, get them to follow it. I
Mhm.
get lots of valuations from viewings. Um, Either there and then they go, okay, yeah, we'd like you to come round, or I tell them to give me a really good stalk. That's my like phrase all the time. Stalk me on Instagram, Facebook, Google, go have a look,
Mhm.
because that's how I'm different. So I would definitely encourage you to talk about it to every single person you can.
Yeah, perfect. And how long? So I've got my own view on this, so I'll see what your thoughts on this first of all. What do you think is the, if you launch your business today, and you went, okay, I'm just logging into my Instagram account for the first time and setting my password as something with a dot at the end of it. How long do you think you'd actually be before you start getting instructions and actually get people come to you saying, I saw your social media and I'd love to instruct you because I watched so and so video?
Um, to be honest, I'm getting more from Instagram now. So, and it's been about 2 years.
Mhm.
So, don't you can't. I personally don't think you can expect it straight away. Like, it's not a sort of quick fix. Is if you're looking to just get stuff off social media, you're not going to do it for a over a year.
Yeah.
Personally, I think, and even now, like I said, I've just had my 2 year anniversary. It only really started picking up sort of maybe halfway through last year. So, and now I get them quite often
Yeah.
through social media. So, yeah, 1 to 2 years, I think, to
Yeah,
grow.
I think my personal thoughts on this are that the first year it's purely a box ticking exercise. All right, great. I've had a leaflet from Holly, or I've seen her on so and so, or she sold my neighbour's house, sort of thing. Let's have a bit of a stalk of Holly, as you phrased it. Let's have a look online, see what she's about. Great, she looks all right, sounds all right. Yeah, let's get her out for a market appraisal. So it's more like validation on who you are rather than necessarily a lead source up
Oh,
front.
100%. And I think that that's really important because, again, going back to the people buy from people, you put yourself out there, not just, um, photos of nice houses, actually get your personality out there because people are going to want to use you, not just because you've got a nice house. That's great. Your service might be rubbish or you might not, you just don't know. So putting yourself out there with video, things like that really, really does um really helps with getting those instructions.
And so for this next section I'm going to talk about now, if I say the wrong thing, it's from a place of ignorance than anything else. So as a soon to be 38-year-old male, I haven't got a clue on some of these topics. So there we go. There's myself throwing myself under the bus before anyone else can do it.
Yeah,
So I saw a post on LinkedIn the other day, and I can't remember who it was, but they basically put all the comments they had on their post. It was a lady who put a video online, and it was lots of comments like, you're so beautiful. Will you be my wife? And let's go for a date, and all this sort
yeah.
of stuff, of which, you know, I don't get comments like that on my Instagram account or social media in any way, shape, or form. I don't know what these women are thinking.
Yeah.
But have you had much of that? Do you find much of that sort of negative, I don't know, comment, messaging, whatever it may be, around your social media? Do you find a certain percentage that you find that is kind of thing, okay, that's not great?
That'd be weird. Yeah. They're probably not on my Instagram very much, actually, which I'm quite lucky for. The only thing that I've recently had wasn't really about me, it was about the property that I had, and people were really quite averse to a specific flooring tile that was in a kitchen. And literally on TikTok and Instagram, I've just had loads of like, ooh, that's disgusting. Like, and you're just like, all right, well, show me your house.
Yeah.
So in that sense, yes, but not. I haven't actually. I think I've been quite lucky. I've not had that much, or maybe it's saying something. I don't know. It's obviously not. I don't know if it's not saying something about me or not that people don't want to comment on that, but I don't really get that much. I've had the odd um encounter where I felt uncomfortable physically at a viewing. And also I get some questions like I went to evaluation the other day and when I was explaining about me being self-employed, that kind of thing. And I think this is well intentioned, but the gentleman said, well, what does your husband think about all of this? And I was like, I don't care. Well, but, I do find myself sometimes in evaluation, especially maybe with an older generation, being like, oh, well, what does your husband think? And like, what, yeah. So sometimes I get that, but other times, most of the time, it's fine,
Yeah.
thankfully. But I
Yeah.
feel like touch wood. I feel like I've only got just over 2,000 followers, but the likes of some other agents that are they've got a lot big following on social media. I know that they get comments and things, which isn't
Mm,
very nice.
yeah.
So yeah, it's a shame that it comes with the whole social media thing. It does come with it. It shouldn't, but it does, and that's a
Yeah.
shame. But thankfully, touch wood.
So
no
my
one.
partner works in recruitment, so not a million miles away from the estate agency well sort of thing. She's got quite a unique name as well, so it's quite easy to find her online. You don't, it's not like a boring name like Chris Webb. You type in Chris Webb, it's like take your pick from 10,000 guys sort of thing. It doesn't narrow down
Yeah,
very quickly. Whereas for herself, it's kind of like one of four maybe, in the United Kingdom, so it narrows down quite quickly. And
yeah,
quite often we'll sit on the sofa and you'll be like, "Oh, hello, beautiful," or "Thanks for talking to me today. I've added you on Fate," and it's a bit like, "Oh, okay, that's a bit over the line," sort of
that's
thing. She's
why.
talking about a job and a recruitment situation, not about going on a date with you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, no. Thank you for being forward, but actually leave me alone.
Yes.
Um, and I also don't think that those people would even follow through on things like that. But yeah, I actually that's why I turned my personal Instagram into a private account
Mhm.
because and also my married name is different from my name that I'm using for the business as well. So
Yep.
that's helpful that I've kind of got that little bit of a break.
Yep.
Uh,
That
yeah.
makes perfect sense. So, well, as a overall message for anybody who's looking to generally male, I'll throw ourselves under the bus here again. Do better. That is an
Don't be
acceptable. Just an
weird.
over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be weird. Just as a life slogan to have. Don't be weird to anybody. So there you go. There's a nice thought there. So let's take it out the negative gutter of
Yeah.
online trolls and hate and whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So we're at the stage now where you're 2 years down the line, and I think I saw on your post in December you sold 12 million pounds worth of property last year, or
Yeah.
11 million and
I
something
think
something.
it was 14
Yeah.
or something. Yeah. So that was lovely. That really nice, really good.
But you're so subtle. You're like, oh yeah, that's nice, that's all right. But I'll be like, yes, well, amazing. So,
Yeah.
I suppose the big question is what's next?
Oh, so that is yeah. So next, so now in my third year, we are just about to sign for my first office. Not a high street office, but
Mhm.
a nice office nonetheless. Uh, I'm looking to hopefully hire, which I'm sure you're glad to hear, Chris.
Well,
After telling
depends
me,
what you're hiring. If you go one on one, depending on our conversation before Christmas, where you go
I
with
know,
the
yeah,
higher
exactly.
side.
So, looking sort of more the negotiator, um, just to give me a bit more time because a little bit like this week, I'm already I go to an average of about 5 valuations a week, which is great. Some people sell, some people go somebody else. That's not a problem at all. Some people sort of just want a valuation or just kind of will do things in the future, and that's fine. But I also do all my viewings myself, which I'm happy to do because I got a lot of valuations, a lot of business from that. And generally, people expect to see me.
So,
Um, but it's that background stuff that I really do with somebody, just kind
yeah,
of helping me out for. So that's the plan. The first quarter of this year, I should be in my office for February.
exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. And that'll be good because one of the main reasons is because surveyors won't come out to my house because I'm 8 miles east of York. So if I've got any properties in York, they're like, we're not coming to you to
Mhm.
pick up keys. So now my office is going to be pretty central to York, which is very exciting.
Yeah, perfect. And so, how do you see that sort of rolling out over the rest of the year as well? Do you see yourself getting more negotiators down the line? I mean, what's the final goal here? What sort of let's fast forward 5 years. Your daughter's at a certain age and
Yeah,
husband's a certain age and wherever it may be. Is the
yeah.
goal for you always to be sort of the peak of the business? Because obviously it is Holly Price is above the door, so therefore you are tied to it in some way. What's your goal?
Yeah, so my goal will probably be I don't want a huge team. I like dealing with the right amount of clients and the right kind of clients. I just will probably put my fees up to kind of I don't want to overload myself, but I like doing the valuations. I really, really like that. I like being hands-on. So I love my job and I love being hands-on, but I also like the admin stuff. So I think that there's a potential opportunity to maybe expand into maybe look at another valuer for somewhere that I don't really cover very much. There's a couple of areas that I've been asked to cover and go and value and things, and I just can't. They're about an hour away, and it's a bit So I think potentially looking at that, but I think I'd like a relatively small team. I don't think I want more than sort of 4 or 5 of us in, really kind of as it goes. And I think I just would like to, just do as well as I can, really. I have certain figures in mind, I think, for this year. So yeah, we'll work towards that and do everything we can to do it. But I think I've established my brand as me, and I want to see how that will, I don't know, progress into yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I've got plans. I've got plans.
Good, exciting. Well, it sounds like you're going up the chapters. Chapter one is, does anyone even know who I am? Can I
Yeah.
do the job? Do I enjoy it? Am I actually getting called out any market appraisals? Then you get to kind of, year one, year two, whatever it may be. Right, I'm getting called out to 5 market appraisals per week and I'm banking so and so per month. Great, that's a fairly regular-ish income in the estate agency world, hopefully. And then you can then build on top of that. So that's good to have. So question for you. So I don't see many of your posts. I don't know if you actually do these at all. You don't do much of the whole come join EXP, work with me. I'm working in a coffee shop today. You can work in a coffee shop too, sort of posts. Is
Yeah.
that on purpose, I presume?
Yeah. So with that whole thing is that I generally get people coming to me if they're interested. They see the kind of stuff I put out there, and then I'm more than happy to do that. For me, I also don't really have the time to. People go, "Oh, you're recruiters," sort of thing. I don't have the time for that, and that's not my main goal. Um, to say that I'm in sales, I'm not very competitive. Um, if I'm competitive with myself, not with others. I don't really think, oh, so and so has brought on X amount of agents. I wish I was doing that. That's not my goal, and that's not my sort of thing that I particularly want to do. I do have some agents that have come directly to me from either seeing my social media and or being recommended me from somewhere else, which is lovely. And I would love, and I try and give them as much support as possible. Um, so it's a nice part of it, but it's not something I'm majorly
Hmm.
concerned with. I might look at the whole teams thing. I don't know how much you know about the teams part of it, but I think that would probably be something that I look at this year, and try and do that. So you might see a few more things about it, but um I try not to I tried to be quite authentically
Yeah.
open and me and and honest, because there's no point in coming on thinking, right, well, I'm going to be debt free in X amount of it is this dream. And yes, it's a fantastic. I love being with EXP. It has helped me be able to kind of get to where I am now and hopefully future. But there's no sort of magic fairy wand that it
Sure.
brings.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got to put in the hard work. So I think being me and being honest is kind of all I do. Yeah.
And I think people resonate with that because I have quite a few clients at EXP already, and one of my kind of unwritten rules that I have quite a conversation with about say, like, I do not want you putting posts online saying come work with EXP and come join me and whatever it may be. The best advert for you as an estate agent, if you are looking to recruit people into the brand and under your umbrella and whatever it may be, is you doing a brilliant job. If you do a brilliant job and they think, oh, that social media stuff's really cool, and you've got loads of instruction, doing lots of houses, you've got lots of money coming through, you've got a good life work balance, can I come work with you, or can I, how do I be like you, or whatever it isn't you kind of ramming it down their throat saying, come join me, come join me. It's be really good at what you can do, and then they'll come to you.
Yeah, 100%. And that's been happening. So that's lovely. So yeah,
There
it's
you go.
good.
There you go. Good. Excellent. I think that probably wraps us up for today. So, Holly, thank you so much for your time. I know you are a very busy lady, as we talked about before the video call started today. So, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. If anyone wants to get hold of you and have a chat with you, how do they do it?
So you can get in touch with me via LinkedIn. So it'll be Holly Price and then in brackets Lickis, Lickiss. That's my married name. Nobody can say it, spell it. So we went with Price. And you can find me on Facebook. So it's Holly Price, Independent Estate Agent, and also on Instagram. So it's Move Home with Holly as a handle all together. Holly with a Y, not an IE. And yeah, feel free to get in touch with me on any of those really, and I will get back to you as soon as I physically can.
Which is like December 2025. Holly, thank you so much for your time, though. I really appreciate it. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.